They're after you, they want you, mate. Come on then, let's go and do this. Let's go, we're all packed up.
In this vodcast, I will look at one of the most basic elements of film openings, the use of company idents. This is probably the simplest area of all when we're looking at the many aspects of film openings and the media language used. But even with such a simple aspect, there are always some exceptions. And this one on screen currently, Donk and Scor-Zay-Zee, is Shane Meadows' 2009 £48,000 production. Well, he launched this idea of a 5-day production challenge, having looked at and rejected the Dog Me 95 rules. So here we're about to see a slightly alternative way of bringing in company idents, animating those within a set of titles. We can also see examples like this in films like Napoleon Dynamite, and generally speaking, you're unlikely to see these in a slasher film, for example. Most commonly, you will see idents being tweaked and used in a different stylized version than the normal ident in a comedy or perhaps a sci-fi. Here's perhaps the most famous example of the classic idents of companies such as Warner Brothers being tweaked for a film. The Wachowski brothers' classic sci-fi epic, The Matrix, from 1999. And what you can see here is very obviously a sci-fi signifier being used, but it also links directly to the narrative of the film itself. Here's a more typical example from 1993's Leprechaun, which, despite being a really bad film, spawned quite a successful series. This $900,000 production also gave Jennnifer Aniston her screen break. So just the one ident, even at the low budget end, it's still more common to see several company idents because that way the risk is spread. Also a good example here of how not to achieve narrative enigma. I mean, this opening would have been better still with narrative enigma pursued. This low budget American indie features 2 company idents. It's worth pointing out that to find the budget figure for this, $8 million, I did try IMDb, didn't find a figure, so I tried Wikipedia, and lo and behold, I found the figure there. If the 1980s belonged to New Line Cinema and Paramount, the 1990s belonged to Dimension Films. More recently, Lionsgate have become probably the foremost production company involved in slasher movies. This simple example shows the very common feature of stripping off the usual jingle that goes with an ident and instead including diegetic sound. We get variations of this with the original Halloween and A Nightmare on Elm Street, which use non-diegetic voices. By the way, this is a really good movie to watch to learn the common codes and conventions of the slasher movie. The last example we'll look at is the absolutely dreadful Friday the 13th remake from 2009, at least in my opinion, along with all of the rest of the remakes and reimaginings that have been a common feature of recent years. In this one, we get a non-diegetic soundtrack which links together the 3 idents, but also creates an audio bridge between the triple ident and the start of the movie itself. What we're also getting here is a nice example of a slasher film which tweaks the company idents. We've seen the sci-fi signifying green of the Matrix, and the blue tint is often applied in other examples. Here we get a very blood-soaked red tint being applied. In our next podcast, we'll have a very quick look at the titles that we get in film openings.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You've been watching a DB3 production.